Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Prachi Mangla, a psychologist at MindTribe, and I'll be co hosting today's workshop. So, before we begin, I'd like to go over quick ground rules to ensure everything runs smoothly. First of all, please keep your cameras off throughout the session. Kindly keep your microphones muted to avoid any background noise. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to type them in the chat. And the workshop is being recorded. Only the PPT and the host audio will be recorded. Be assured that your names and the text in chat box are not on record. As a reminder, let's ensure that this is a respectful and a safe space for everyone. Please be mindful of your language in the chat box and maintain a supportive environment. Thank you for your understanding. Now I'll soon hand it over to Manvi, who will be the host for your workshop. We'll begin shortly. In the meantime, please ensure that all of your cameras are switched off. Good afternoon, everyone. For everyone who joined in right now, I will quickly repeat the instructions for the workshop. So, hello, I am Prachi Mangla, a psychologist at MindTribe, and I'll be co-hosting today's workshop. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a quick few ground rules to make ensure that everything runs smoothly. So please feel free to keep your cameras off throughout the sessions and keep your microphones muted to avoid any background noises. And during the workshop, it will be recorded. Only the PPT and the host audio will be recorded. Be assured that your names and text in the chat box are not on record. As a reminder, let's ensure this is a respectful and safe space for everyone. Now, I'll hand over to Mandvi, who is your host for the workshop.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our workshop on maximizing productivity with daily tools. Like Prachi introduced me, my name is Mindvi Tyagi. I am a counseling psychologist with MindTribe. I am really very thrilled to be here with you all today. I just a little background on me. I have over 5+ years of experience in the field of psychology. My approach is grounded in continuous learning and evidence-based techniques to help with issues around anxiety, stress, relationships, and much more. Today, we will be exploring various techniques and strategies to enhance your productivity in both your personal and professional lives. So let's start with a quick icebreaker. I'd like each of you to think about your biggest productivity challenge. What is that one thing that often gets in your way of being productive? So take a moment, think about it, and then you can share through the chat box or you can unmute and answer. Right, so Zainab says procrastination, um, and Aditi says consistency. Right, both are very apt challenges that one can face. Um, Angelina says not able to be productive when I feel tired or exhausted. Very true, Angeline. Now, um, you know, procrastination is something we will be covering in the coming slides. you'll have a better understanding of what you can do uh, in such instances. Deepak says that digital distraction. I think that's very common, Deepak. Phones are digital devices, right? They can really um, distract us from our objectives. Farheen says distraction, procrastination, sleep, excess of sleep, lack of sleep quality, um, all are very common challenges. Sakshi says lack of motivation. Um, Thank you for sharing, Sakshi. That is something we again will be, talking about in the coming slides. Hopefully, by the end of the presentation, you'll have a better insight as to, what you can do for your challenges. It's also clear to me that, we all, yes, somebody said something. Avasthi said, Aswathi said that, absence of other interesting activities. Samla says, listening to songs. Um, Okay, so that is a challenge for you in achieving your goals and such. Um, all right. So, after reading all of your answers, it's clear to me that we all face different challenges, when it comes to productivity. So, throughout this workshop, we'll address a lot of these issues through practical tools, right? And we learn how to overcome them. So make sure you stick around for that. All right. So, now let's briefly go over our agenda for today. So, first up, we will be discussing what productivity is and what we understand of it. Second up, we have time and task management. We'll also be discussing habit formation, behavior change, which is a very interesting section of, uniquely blended techniques that you would want to stick around for. Then we have psychological techniques for productivity. And at last, we have mindfulness and well being with a very interesting activity towards the end. So, before we dive in, let's define what we mean by productivity. We think that productivity is just about doing more things in less time, but it also includes efficient use of resources. So, you're efficiently making use of whatever um, you have, right? You're making the best use of it. You're also prioritizing and focusing well. You're consistent. You're balancing quality and quantity. You are adapting to change, which is very important. Also, there's a component of sustainability. So, whatever changes you're bringing in, you're making sure that it is sustainable. It is for the long run. So first up, we have time and task management. We are going to be covering various techniques under this section. So for time management, I have chosen the Pomodoro technique. A lot of you must already know about this. Can I see a few thumbs up for all who are aware about this technique? Hi, it's Zainab, Deepak. Yes, Binti, go ahead. All right. So we can take up questions towards the end. No worries. We have a lot of content to cover. We're going to take questions towards the end. So for now, I'm going to discuss this technique. So for anybody who doesn't know, we're here to learn, right? Um, so this technique helps us to manage our time and involves working in time intervals, right? So you're working in time intervals followed by a break. So for better understanding, I've included the example of a 25-minute interval followed by a 5-minute break. Um, you can, choose to work for 50 minutes followed by a 10-minute break, whatever suits you. However you're comfortable. I have chosen the 25-minute interval because we are just beginners, right? We are starting off. So choose a realistic time interval for that. So after 4 cycles, you can take a longer break of, say, 30 minutes, right? You can take 30 minutes break, and if you want to continue after that too, you can do that, or you can take it up some other time. This Pomodoro technique helps you to maintain focus and mental clarity while reducing burnout, right? So it is based on the idea that frequent breaks throughout our um, say study schedule or whatever can improve your mental agility and can really help you to focus, help you to stay motivated. So what I do personally is I I use a timer. So perhaps I time myself in that 25-minute Pomodoro session, and in that session I am focused on the task at hand. So if it's studying, if it's working on a project, or if it's organizing, cleaning, I am dedicated to that task at hand during that session. I hope I'm making sense. Right. So okay. So let's try a quick activity to practice this technique. Think of any task you need to complete today, right? And in the chat box or by unmuting, you can tell me the first step you would take in a Pomodoro session. So maybe a 25-minute Pomodoro session, right? Just to clear it out. Um, for example, the task I need to complete today is organize my desk, right? So the first thing I may do is to take off anything which is unnecessary, which is which doesn't belong there. So that is my first task. First task, or another task, another example would be that I have to prepare for a presentation in the for the coming days, right? So in the 25-minute Pomodoro session, the first step I would take is to outline the main points I want to cover. So I'm just sharing the first step I would take in a Pomodoro session, right? So this exercise will help you to break tasks into actionable steps, which is very important. We are going to be discussing its importance in the coming slides and how it can, really motivate us to get started. It helps us to maintain our focus, our commitment, our motivation levels. So you take a minute and think about any task you want to achieve today and come up with the first step you would want to take. All right. So Harsh, you'll have to narrow it down. So maybe what will you do um, for your assignment? What will be the first step you will take for completing your assignment? Um, Studying for tomorrow's exam, Deepak, that is again a bigger goal. We are focusing on the first step you would do in a Pomodoro session for perhaps studying for an exam. So maybe the first thing you could do is going through, briefly skimming the chapters. Yes, Aswati says that, opening the book. Priya says completing Spring Boot Basics. Um, then somebody says want to complete 2 chapter lectures, which is a good goal. It's realistic, has a, um, sort of a briefer sort of a goal. Then Anshika says highlighting important lines while watching a YouTube video. Harsh says why study economics and the central problem of economics in modern times. All right. Himanshu says a revision session for an upcoming exam makes sense. Jesleen says do my writing session practice for a linguistic exam. Thank you for sharing, guys. Right. So the thing is, we're going to be discussing that over and over in today's session. Why did I include this activity is because it's easier to come up with goals, right? What do you want to do today? What do you want to do tomorrow, right? But the difference between creating a goal and actually working towards achieving it is when um, break it down into a smaller, more manageable, more realistic goal, right? And that is the whole point here, because if you go through your to-do lists, a lot of us, right, we have some tasks that have been sitting there for a lot of days, for a lot of weeks, because we don't know how to approach it. We don't know how to, get done with it, right? So the first thing you can do is break it down into smaller steps. So maybe, break it down into two to three smaller steps. So, if I have to study for an exam, first thing I would do is, go over the outline of the chapters. The second thing I would do is, maybe study this chapter. Third thing is something, maybe I would practice a quiz, right? So um, you break it down, right? And even better if you can assign a time component to it. So perhaps, that I'm going to be outlining my um, study content today, and then I'm going to working on the reading part tomorrow. So that way you not only have broken down the goals into smaller, more realistic steps, but you also have a um, time sensitive component to it, which makes it more approachable and doable, right? I hope I'm making sense. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Um, in just a second. Right. So now let's move on to task management using the Eisenhower matrix. Um, Again, a very common tool, but yet very effective. Um, a lot of you must have heard of it. Yes. All right. So this tool, helps you to prioritize tasks based on their urgency and importance. This process involves, three steps, right? So you're setting clear goals, you're categorizing tasks, and then you have your matrix. So it doesn't matter if you have, it doesn't mean that you have to follow all the steps. I have just outlined what you should do in order to, successfully make use of the matrix. The first step obviously involves, setting goals, right? So whatever you need to do, set a goal. Maybe studying for an exam, preparing for a presentation. Then categorizing tasks again, like we discussed in the last slide, you break that task down into smaller tasks. So for example, if I have to prepare for the presentation, so I'll break it down into 3 to 4, smaller tasks. Maybe, researching, um, reviewing the literature, maybe, outlining the basic, like, the content page. I'm sorry, the content page, right? Or working on the PPT, the template. So you break down the tasks. That is the second point. Now we're going to use the matrix and how can you allot each task into one of the quadrants of the matrix so that you know which task to prioritize and do first, and which task should you should attend to first in your to-do list, right? Because um, I don't know about you, but what happens is, I have a lot of tasks every day, which I find difficult prioritizing, right? So this matrix helps you with that. So there are 4 quadrants in the Eisenhower matrix. The first one is urgent. I hope you can see it. Urgent and important. So that means that the task is not only important to you and your objectives and your goals, but is also urgent. So it has a time sensitive component to it. It has to be done within a time frame. I hope I'm making sense. The second quadrant you have is important but not urgent here, right? So the task is important but does not have a time sensitive component to it. So you can, do it at a later day, right? Someday later. The third quadrant is urgent but not important. So it is like it is happening right now, or uh, happening urgently, but is not important to you, does not align with your goals and your objectives. The fourth one is not urgent or important. So we're going to go over these quadrants in detail in the next slide. Right, so now let's explore the Eisenhower matrix. Um, the first quadrant, if you can see it clearly, is the urgent and important one. So any task which is important and urgent, you do it now, right? You prioritize it over every other task that you may have. These tasks require your immediate attention and have significant consequences, right? So they have consequences if you don't attend to them. They also often include, any crisis, any pressing problems, or any deadline-driven project For example, um, I have a report due today, so I'm going to prioritize that task over every other task in my to-do list. I hope I'm making sense. Right. The second quadrant is your important but not urgent um, quadrant, which is any task which is important to you, aligns with your goals and objectives, but you don't have to do it right now, right? You can schedule it for later. So, like it says here, you decide a time to do it for later. So usually, for me, if I have a task which needs to be done um, in my to-do list, right, but I don't have to attend to it today, I assign a time or a day later for it. And I write it in the brackets and I don't attend to it until then. I don't think about it until then. So that way I have, scheduled it for later, but at the same time, I remember to do it. So, another example could be planning my work schedule for the upcoming month, right? So, work schedule for December. So I don't have to do it today on a Sunday. I can, schedule to do it November end, right? So that way I do remember that I have to attend to this task because, of course, it's important, but I can attend to it as per my convenience at a later time. The third quadrant we have is urgent but not important. So any task, um, which is not important to you, does not align with your goals, um, you can delegate such tasks, right? You can find somebody else to do it for you. Um, these tasks do demand your attention because it's happening in the moment, but you don't have to like attend to them because you don't they don't contribute significantly to your goals, right? They don't affect you. They don't have a lot of consequences, so you can delegate as much as you can or minimize them. Whatever is preferable. For example, we all have certain meetings, some emails, spam emails or minor interruptions that could be handled by someone else, right? So we can always delegate. The fourth quadrant we have is not urgent and not important. This one. Also, guys, please feel free to take a screenshot if you want. You can refer to this matrix as much as you can because it's important and it does really help you in prioritizing your tasks and really saves a lot of time if you use it correctly. So the fourth quadrant, not urgent and not important. These are, like the name suggests, these are time wasters, that don't contribute to your goals or immediate responsibilities. So the best approach is to eliminate or minimize these activities. For example, excessive social media browsing during work hours. If somebody is excessively browsing social media during work hours, that is a time waster, right? It's not important, it's not urgent, and it's causing a hindrance um, in you achieving your personal objectives, your goals, right? In you being productive. So you can eliminate it, you can minimize these activities or any other unproductive habit, which is not serving you in any way. So I'm going to give you an example and try to organize the tasks, in the quadrants. So, I have to, for example, I have to organize a birthday party for a friend next Sunday. And the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to start by breaking down the goal into smaller tasks, right? So, for example, sending invites to guests, or ordering the cake, or buying decorations, or planning the menu, right? So these are a few tasks that we're going to divide on the basis of the goal, which we have talked about here, right? So my goal is to organize a birthday party. I have broken down the tasks based on the goals. Now I'm going to be organizing the tasks in the quadrants. Um, right. So if you can guess correctly, the urgent and important task would be sending invites to guests. Why? Because it is important. We can't have a party without invites, without guests, and guests also need time to RSVP, right? So we have to do it right now. It is urgent, it's important, it has a time sensitive component to it, so we do it right now. Okay. Um, the next task that I had was planning the menu, right? Planning the food menu, which is also important. Um, so this one, we will categorize it here, put it here, because the task is important, important to us, important to the party, but it's not urgent, doesn't have to be done right now, because you know it needs thought, right? That is why it's important, but it doesn't have to be done right away. So we can, schedule perhaps a later day and time to come up with the food menu and, plan accordingly. The third thing is urgent but not important. So this important, right? So we are going to, I'm going to, I'm sorry, I'm going to put ordering a cake here. Why? Because um, it is not important. You know, it doesn't take a lot of time to order a cake, get it for yourself, you know, but it is urgent because it's time sensitive, right? Because if you don't do it at a certain time, um, and if it gets delayed, then it won't be ready, for the party. So it has a time sensitive component to it, but it's not important because it doesn't require a lot of our energy and time. It's not a complex task, right? So planning a menu and ordering a cake, I have distinguished them on the basis of complexity too. I hope you can understand that, and that is why planning a menu becomes more important to me than getting the cake, right? Okay, right. Okay, Harsh. Thank you for reacting. Um, Not urgent and not important, so could be anything. Planning for the decorations, arranging the seating can wait until closer to the day, right? So it doesn't, or anyone else can do it, or it can wait until the last day too. It doesn't matter, right? So I hope I'm making sense. You can make use of the matrix as and when you want. Right, this is probably my favorite section. We will be exploring a lot of powerful techniques to form productive habits and change behaviors that might be hindering your productivity. Make sure that you stick around for this. So the first up we have Kaizen process, which also means continuous improvement. Kaizen is a Japanese term that means, change for the better, right? We're changing for the better, or it also means continuous improvement. It is a powerful concept that can transform the way you approach personal and professional growth. More than a technique, I see it as a philosophy of life. It works wherever you want it to work. It's very sort of, flexible that way. So the core idea of Kaizen is to make, small incremental improvements every day. How many of you have read the book Atomic Habits? Please give a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you haven't. Okay, so thumbs down. Okay, so if you would have read it, I do recommend it by James Clear. It mentions this technique a lot throughout. So there's a lot of focus and talk about how small incremental improvements every day, um, you know, over time compounds and really, not only brings you closer to your goals, but also significantly impacts and changes your life, right? So the idea is that, we're not trying to make any dramatic change all at once, right? Which can be overwhelming for anybody, right? Um, Kaizen process encourages you to, focus on tiny manageable steps that you can take. Um, you know, excuse me. Right. So here's how you can apply Kaizen to to your life and to your goals. So you start by identifying any area that you want to improve on, right? So this could be your work, your health habits, or any personal skill you want in life, right? So focus on one area. For me, it could be fitness, right? So that is my area that I want to improve on. The second could be start with a small change. For example, if you want to improve your productivity, start by organizing your desk for just 5 minutes a day, right? If you want to see a change in your productivity levels, you can start by organizing your desk for 5 minutes. That could be a small change. That could be a 1% for today. Also, it says here that you're focusing on doing 1% better every day, right? The best part about this technique is that this 1% you get to decide what that looks like for you today. So you are in control. You are in complete control. Nobody else gets to decide what that 1% looks for you. And also, the 1% for you today will look very different a month later, right? So that way, it is prone to change. you know so you can adapt to it, and you can, of course, increase your complexity of the tasks, challenge yourself more over time, gradually, but not today, right? So I give an example of organizing your day for 5 minutes. If you want to be more productive, that could be a 1% towards achieving that for today. The third thing you can do is do it consistently, right? So do it every day without fail. Um, I have a rule, So when I'm working out and I miss out a day of working out, um, I make sure that I return to it the very next day. I don't um, let 2 days of gap come in between. So that helps me to stay on the track. That helps me to stay consistent. Um, and it's also like it's a commitment I give to myself. So it helps me with everything that way. The fourth thing you can do is reflect and adjust. So after a week or two, reflect on the impact this very small change has brought to you. Is it helping? Could you do more? And if the answer is yes, of course, increase the frequency of it. From 5 minutes, you can increase the frequency to 10 minutes, right? So cleaning for 10 minutes, organizing for 10 minutes, um, you know, if that is where you are, if that is what your 1% looks like that day. I hope I'm making sense. Give me a thumbs up if I am. Right. So the beauty of Kaizen is that these small improvements compound over time. It leads to significant changes without the stress of trying to um, overhaul your entire life, right? We don't want that. We want small, sustainable changes in our life. So the next thing we have here is behavioral activation. It is a technique often used in treating depression, but it's also incredibly useful for improving your productivity and overall well-being, right? So, like it says here, we engage in rewarding activities to boost our motivation and combat procrastination. It seems like common sense, but I'm going to explain the rationale behind it for you. So the core principle of it is that your actions. Now listen to me clearly. Your actions can really change your thoughts and your mood. All right. That is also one of the core principles of cognitive behavioral therapy, if you've heard of it. Your actions can really change your thoughts and mood. So by engaging in positive activities, even when you don't feel like it, um, can really improve your mood, and also, more importantly, break the cycle of negative thinking or procrastination. Because more often than not, the reason why we are procrastinating is because of that internal negative monologue, right? That internal negative cycle of thinking. So engaging in behavioral activation, engaging in positive activities, helps us to break free from that cycle of negative thinking, overthinking, procrastination, which is very important. So here's how you can, apply behavioral activation with the help of these steps, right? So the one of the main steps is to identify valuable activities. So like the name suggests, you make a list of activities that you find rewarding in the moment, which you enjoy or which gives you a sense of accomplishment. For example, that could be reading for me, right? Or that could be going for a walking for me. So that is something that I enjoy, that is rewarding for me, gives me a sense of accomplishment. So make a list for yourself as well, and it's okay for you to keep on updating that list, changing it, because um, we don't find one thing rewarding for that long, right? So it's okay to bring in new things, try new things, and make a list which suits you and your needs in the moment. The second step is to set down goals, right? So you break down a task into a smaller, clearer goal. You don't have to do it, but I am specifying it because it really helps. Goals, and more importantly, clearer goals. More realistic, manageable goals helps you to get started, helps you to stay committed, helps you to accomplish your goals, which is why we're here, right? So for example, if I find reading to be my rewarding activity, then setting a goal to finish one chapter makes it more purposeful rather than just passing time, right? So it makes the activity more intentional. It makes it sort of more doable, more manageable, more realistic for me. You know, so setting these small realistic goals now and then will always help you to stay focused and consistent, right? The third thing we can do is plan specific times to work on each task to stay organized. Right, of course, you can engage in rewarding activities spontaneously, right? Spontaneously means you can, whenever you want, you can engage in it without any planning involved, right? Um, but speaking from my experience, I am not a very spontaneous person. If you are, I'm happy for you, but I'm not, right? So yes, Ritika, we'll take questions towards the end. Or are you wanting to say something, add something?
Hello, ma'am.
Ji, please continue.
Yeah. My question is that if you are feeling overthinking and the thoughts are arising daily at night, what should do that time?
A very valid question, Ritika. We
Yeah.
will be going over it in detail towards the end because I have a lot of content to cover, so I'm sorry I'm going to
Okay,
have to
okay.
take it towards the end.
Okay,
Please
okay.
make sure that you stick around for that. All
Okay.
right. So I'm going to continue now. Um, so, like I was saying, right? Planning doesn't come like, I'm not a very spontaneous person, right? So, even if I am going through a period of low motivation or procrastination, so, maybe I'm procrastinating. So, it wouldn't come naturally to me to, push myself out of my comfort zone and, engage in a rewarding activity, right? So, it's not something I would want to do in the moment. So, what works for me, and if you can relate to me, what could work for you is scheduling a session in advance, you know. So schedule a mandatory session in advance, for example, 30 minutes of any rewarding activity in the day, So I personally, I can schedule 30 minutes of reading in the morning, right? So even if I don't want to do it, but engaging in an activity which in the past has proven to be, good for me, has proven to be rewarding for me, helps me to step out of, whatever I'm going through, changes my mood, changes my thought process, and really sets the right tone for the rest of the day. I hope I'm making sense. Right. So the fourth step is to track progress and, monitor what you accomplish to stay motivated, right? So, like I said, you can always keep coming back, change the activities you want to engage in, um, change the way you want to engage in, right? So, for example, I mark off each day I exercise on my phone because that helps me to stay committed, helps me to stay motivated to keep on going, right? So that way, if you're tracking your progress, it helps you to, go on, right? Helps you to stay committed towards your goals. All right. So I hope you're understanding that the key is to act first, rather than waiting to feel motivated. Okay. So we are acting rather than waiting to feel motivated because sometimes it doesn't happen, right? We are stuck procrastinating. It doesn't happen naturally. So we want to act first because the action itself will generate motivation and positive feelings as a consequence. All right. So very important and a very powerful technique we have here is linking, a new habit you want to form an existing, like, to an existing habit. That is called habit stacking. All right. So this makes it very easier to remember and implement the new habit. So like it says here, you're linking new habits to existing ones for effective adoption. You are making use of the momentum that you already have in terms of, your established habits to build new ones, right? You're also integrating small changes into your daily routines and also increasing the likelihood of consistency in your behavior. Now, what exactly is all this, right? Um, I'm going to explain it for you. So here's how it works, right? Here's how habit stacking works. And it's very important because it's very effective, So the first thing you do, right, is choose an anchor habit, or in simpler terms, a very fancy term for any existing habit that you have, and that you already engage in, right? So this could be something that you do almost every day, consistently, right? For example, I brush my teeth in the morning, so uh, that is an existing habit that I engage in consistently, right? So you choose any anchor habit that you have, any existing habit that you have. The next step that you do for habit stacking is you choose a new habit that you want in your life, right? So this could be anything: walking, meditating, or um, anything else that you want to inculcate in your routine in your life, right? The catch here is that you want it to be small and manageable. So walking cannot be a new habit. You have to rephrase it as, maybe I want to walk for 30 minutes, right? So you have to make the goal more specific, more um, doable, right? Like we discussed in the previous slides, a goal which is vague has lesser, success rate, right? And we are less likely to follow through on them. But if it's clearer, if it's more specific, we are more likely to engage, and we are more likely to engage in the act, and we are more likely to um, make it a habit over time, right? So here, I'm going to give you an example. Uh, like I said, I want to meditate, right? That is a new habit I want to inculcate. So I'm going to rephrase it as I will meditate for 2 minutes, right? So that is my new habit that I want in my life, right? Um, Now the third step is you create your habit stack. Okay, so you put them together into a statement here, right? So you're combining the first step and the second step um, to make a habit stack, right? So for example, in the first step, I said that I brush my teeth in the morning, right? In the next second step, I said that I want to meditate for 2 minutes. So third step to create a habit stack would be that, after I brush my teeth in the morning, I will meditate for 2 minutes. Sounds very basic, but if this is something that you can, carry on with, can really like give you a lot of positive, results if you can pull this off, Um, so I'm going to explain the rationale behind this. So the power of habit stacking lies in using the automaticity of an existing habit to trigger a new one. Very fancy terms. I'm going to explain it in more easier terms for you. um, your brain, right? Your brain already has established a very strong neural pathway for the existing habit. So, for example, if I'm brushing my teeth every morning, my brain has already established a very strong neural pathway. So, when I wake up, it is out of habit that, I'm brushing my teeth. I don't have to do it intentionally. I don't have to put in any efforts. It is just, something that has sort of, been imprinted in my mind, by some strong neural pathways, right? So, in such instances, it's easier to link a new habit to this existing pathway, right? Rather than trying to create an entirely new routine from scratch, right? You'll have a better success rate if you attach a new habit to any existing habit, because your brain will be able to adapt um, very fast to any new habit that you want to inculcate. All right. So, does anyone want to share, what their habit stack looks like? First off, think of a small habit you'd like to develop, right? And then identify any existing habit you can link it to. Then tell me what your habit stack looks like so that, we can get to know what new habit we want to inculcate in our lives. Anybody? Um, right. Harsh says, start yoga in morning. Yoga is your goal, Harsh. I would recommend making it more brief, as in, for how long would you want to do yoga for? And in the morning, you'll want to attach an existing habit, right? So morning is not your existing habit. Waking up is not, um, you know, an existing habit, right? That is something we naturally do instinctively, right? So reduce screen time in the morning as much as possible. So that is your new habit that you want to inculcate. So attach that to any habit that you already have, right? So in the morning, pick any habit that you already engage in and then do before. Um, all right, so that is something that you want to inculcate throughout the day. All right, wake up earlier and spend half an hour working out. Um, start mindfulness meditation in the morning. Um, reading book for at least an hour. All of you have gotten the gist of it. I'd just like to clarify that it's good to know which habits you want to inculcate, but this will only work out if you do it before or after any strong. Akshay, I would like you to switch off your camera, please. Yeah, thank you. So, do it before or after any habit that you already do. Maybe bathing, maybe brushing your teeth, anything that you already do naturally, pair it with that. All right. Okay. So Neeraj and Harsh says that they want to wake up early, start studying. Okay. Neeraj has also gotten the like has understood it. So I mean, thank you for sharing, guys. You can take a screenshot if you want, in order to implement it afterwards too, because I can promise you, if you do it correctly, if you you know are successful in creating your habit stacks, which is choosing your anchor habit, existing habit, and waking up is not an existing habit. I'm really sorry. You'll have to choose another habit that you already engage in. It's okay if you want to take some time to think about it. You can do it later on after the session. So create accurate habit stacks, and that will give you a better chance at being successful at it. All right. Okay. So now, just like those moments on YouTube when a quick ad pops up for us, we have a short ad break for you. Don't worry, this will be quick and very beneficial. So until then, grab a drink or something to eat and get comfortable. Take a break too with me. All right. So what exactly is one-on-one counseling? It's a personalized, confidential chat between you and a trained therapist. Imagine having someone who really, listens to you, really understands you, and helps you out figuring things, right? Um, so, what are the benefits of it? Um, Personal growth, solving problems, setting goals, boosting your mental well-being. All right. So the benefits are numerous, and it's like having a personal coach for your mind. I hope I'm making sense. All right. So now let's bust a big myth about counseling. So many think that counseling is only for those who are unwell, right? So that is absolutely not true. Counseling is for anyone wanting to be their best self. Okay. If you want better relationships, more friends, a spot in your dream college or job, anything you want assistance or guidance with, you can always seek counseling for that. Um, right? So it's about making the best version of you. That is the goal, regardless of where you are in life. So, why choose MindTribe, right? First off, our counselors are very talented. Also, we are quite affordable, right? So we have sessions ranging from rupees 500 to 5,000. Um, and the best part, right? The best part is that your first session is absolutely free. All right. So once you're comfortable, you can choose packages, affordable packages from our website. All right. So at MindTry, we believe that, empowering minds and transforming lives. And that's also what we do in real life. So before we continue with our main presentation, we have a lot of interesting sections coming up. Do you have any urgent questions about counseling? Any urgent question that you'd like an answer to, you like assistance to, now is your chance to ask. We are here to help you. Me and Prachi will, um, you know, we'll try to answer as many questions as we can if you have any about counseling. So Abhishek says that it's been a week since I came out of my student life and working in a school. I'm unable to figure out everything, and I always feel low whenever I go to school and think about school. Definitely, Abhishek, that how should I cope up in such situation? It's awful and irritating. Um, of course, Abhishek, that must be um, a challenging situation for you. Um, please feel free to stay back after the session. We can talk in detail, and I can recommend a few techniques or something that could benefit you in the moment. Um, Harsh says fees about counseling sessions. So Harsh, we have a lot of different counselors here at MindTribe with a lot of different, um, fees, right? A lot of different scales, pay scales, right? So you can always check out the MindTribe website, and the sessions begin with 500 for 45 minutes, and they start from that to till 5,000, right? So you can choose as per your convenience. And I will also be sharing my counseling profile. So when you can check that out, Prachi will also be sharing hers. So you can check hers out as well. Any other question anyone has about counseling, please feel free to share. Ritika says, I'm struggling with overthinking, anxiety, and stress. So many things that, that memory cause memory issues, and I can't forget and handle relationship problems. All right. So, Ritika, I'm sorry that you're going through this. It can be quite challenging when you are navigating such, phases of life, right? So, with regard to your overthinking, anxiety, and stress, please feel free to stay back. We can come up with some um, alternative techniques that you could, adopt for now. And if the problems persist, I would advise you to take up counseling, one-on-one counseling, which because it's more personalized and it does help you out in the long run, right? So please stay back. I would love to have a chat with you. Anyone else? If not, I'll be moving forward. All right. Okay. So in this section, we will be exploring a few powerful psychological techniques that can, significantly boost your productivity. These methods are, of course, based on scientific research and can help you, better understand and manage your behavior, right? So the next technique we have is called as mental contrasting with implementation intentions. Um, Sounds a bit tough, I know, but I'm going to break it down for you. This powerful combination of techniques can significantly, increase your chances of achieving your goals. All right. So let's break down each component. So I have divided. Um, if I can see, I have divided this title into two parts. We're going to discuss mental contrasting first. Then we're going to move on to the implementation intentions, right? So that way it'll be easier for you to understand. Feel free to take screenshots if you want, um, for, if you want to reference, um, if you want it as reference later on. All right. So mental contrasting is a visualization technique that involves two key steps, right? So we have visualizing positive outcomes, and the second one is we are imagining obstacles, right? So it involves two subtopics. Now I'm going to go over the first one. As the name suggests, we are, you know, visualizing positive outcomes. We are imagining achieving our goal in vivid detail, right? So we are thinking about the benefits and the positive changes, it will bring to our life. For example, if my goal is to complete a big project at work, so visualizing the satisfaction of achieving the praise I may get from the boss, or even perhaps a promotion, right? So that those could be some positive outcomes that I could visualize for myself. I'm going to go over why this helps you out with your goals and how it helps you to stay motivated and committed in the coming time. Um, the second thing you could do for mental contrasting is imagining obstacles, right? If anyone of you is wondering why we are, visualizing positive things and then at the same time, imagining obstacles, is because we are not like going too much in detail, but we are preparing ourselves for it. In the coming slide, we are going to be planning actively, intentionally, as to how we could, manage these obstacles, right? So it's important. It's important to feel prepared. It's important to be in control, so that you are motivated to perform better. So going in detail, you're going to think about any potential challenges or barriers, that might prevent you from reaching your goal. Okay, so be realistic and specific about uh, what might get in your way. All right. So, for example, for the same work project, like I talked about, I can imagine a few distractions from my colleagues, or any technical difficulties, or any other aspect of the task, right? So I could narrow it down. I can note it down, and these could be the obstacles that I want to um, have a plan for, plan to overcome it, right? So now, why does it work? Why does mental contrasting work? If you're wondering about it, it helps you to be more, both optimistic and realistic, right? So it motivates you by focusing on the benefits while also preparing you for potential challenges. Okay, so this balanced approach can increase your commitment and help you plan more effectively. That is what you want, right? We want more goal driven behavior. We want to achieve our goals, our objectives. We want to be more productive. That's why we're here, right? So we're going to be moving forward. All right, so next up we have the implementation intentions, the second part of it. Like the name suggests, we are implementing our intentions. Intentions, whatever we've set in the previous slide, right? Our goals, whatever we visualize for ourselves, we are making it come true, right? So first up, we have actionable plans. So you're creating clear, specific plans to, make it easy to follow through. All right. So just planning to meditate or work out is not enough. You need to make a more clearer, more specific plan, which helps you to get started, which keeps you motivated and committed to continue with the goal. I hope I'm making sense. So the best way to do that is to make use of the if-then statement. If I hope you can see it here. So the if-then statement helps you to plan more concretely, like in a better way. So here it says that if it's 7 p.m., then I'll organize my study space for 15 minutes, right? I've added the 15 minutes for giving it more of a, deadline so that I know for sure, at this time I'll be doing this for this long, so that the task seems more doable, approachable, and realistic, right? So another example could be if it's um, 9 a.m., right? Then I'll start studying for 30 minutes. So do you see what I'm doing here? I'm making use of the if-then statement and I'm planning around it. I'm specifying my goals. I'm not just simply saying that I want to study, you know, because studying as in itself is a very broad goal. And of course, if it sits like that in a to-do list, it will be harder for us to follow through, you know, because it's not concrete, it's not specific, it's not doable and realistic. What does even studying mean as a whole? So you need to narrow it down, right? So you make use of the if-then statement, and so, it goes like this. If it's 9 a.m., then I'll start studying for 30 minutes. So that way your brain does not perceive it as a threat. It seems approachable, it seems doable, and you get started. You get the motivation to start, and that's what you want, right? To step out of that procrastination cycle and to get started towards our goal. Because once we do get started, after 30 minutes of studying, you'll feel like, oh, I can do 15 minutes more of this, right? So that way, all we need to do is get started. You know, that's the motivation we are seeking, right? So this helps you out with that. So the next thing we have here is responses to obstacles, right? Um, it's a it's in continuation to the previous thing that we discussed. You're imagining your obstacles that might come up in you achieving your goals. It could be anything, right? So now we are actively, intentionally, um, making plans to overcome them. So how do you do that? You identify any possible distractions like we have, and then you make a plan for how you'll handle these moments. For example, if I get the urge to check my phone while studying, because a lot of you have mentioned that phones are distracting for you, right? When you're studying, when you're doing any other task. So that is something that is a barrier, right? Okay, so that is a barrier, right? That is obstacle for you, and it stops you from achieving your goals, right? So the statement I can make to combat this obstacle is that if I get the urge to check my phone while studying, then I will place it in a different room, right? So you come up with these plans. It seems very simple, very sort of common knowledge, but when you start implementing it, you know, you will see the difference. Whatever is stopping you from achieving your goals today, you will get a better hang of, um, combating them. All right, coming up with plans and strategies that you could um, undertake to, perform differently, choose differently, so that you are a step closer to, achieving your goals. And that's what you want, right? Another example here I've mentioned is if I daydream, I'll take a stretch break because I sometimes daydream, right? Which does affect my ability to stay focused and committed to the task at hand. So I have made this rule that if I do that and if I catch myself doing it, I'm going to step away and I'm going to stretch for 10 minutes. Anything, right? I'm going to take a stretch break for 10 minutes. That's going to ground me to the present. And then I'm going to be able to, focus more and better um, to the task at hand when I return to it, right? So that way you can come up with plans to, respond differently to any obstacles that you're facing. Now, why does it help and why does it work, right? So you're bridging the gap between your intentions and actions. You're actively taking actions, right? So they're preparing you to respond automatically to specific situations. Because, sometimes in the moment we don't have the bandwidth or, the energy um, to come up with alternatives, to come up with a different way of, behaving or choosing, right? So it's better if we plan in advance so that we can respond automatically to anything that comes up in the moment. We also reduce the mental effort required to make decisions. So if you heard of it, decision fatigue is a very real thing. So if you have a lot going on and if you're actively making a lot of decisions in the moment for a lot of things, right? So that can really tire you out, um, can make you feel fatigued because it's a real thing. Decision fatigue is a real thing. You can look it up, and we want to reduce that, right? So you want to have the least possible mental load in the moment when you're focusing on a goal at hand because we want to achieve it, we want to be successful, we want to be productive, right? So making plans in advance helps us with that. All right. So, I hope you've understood it. You can take a screenshot if you want. By using these techniques together or even independently, you can significantly improve your goal achievement and productivity, helps you to stay motivated, aware of challenges, you know, while giving you concrete strategies to overcome anything that might um, derail you from your achievements and your goal, right? So I hope it's better, more clearer, um, and hopefully you'll be able to use it in the future. Right, so our final topic is mindfulness and its role in productivity and overall well being. Um, so, why mindfulness? Why mindfulness meditation? Um, because it really helps you to, foster productivity. It really impacts your productivity levels throughout the day. Okay, if you engage in any mindfulness practice, right, it improves your focus and concentration throughout the day. It also reduces stress and anxiety, which is very important, right? It also enhances emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is just you regulating your emotions well, maintaining, managing your emotions well. So it helps with that. It boosts creativity and problem-solving skills. And also increases self-awareness, right? So a win-win in every situation, right? So by regularly practicing mindfulness, meditation, you can really train your brain to be more focused, more present, which directly, translates to improved productivity in your work and personal life, right? I hope I'm making sense. Um, all right, so now let's experience the benefits of mindfulness firsthand, with a short guided meditation. I'll give you a minute to settle down. All right. I hope you settle down. Um, Find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. And whenever you're ready, gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose and slowly exhale through your mouth. Now notice the sensation of your breath as it flows in and out of your body. Notice the sensation. Also, let your breathing be natural and effortless. Now bring your attention to the present moment. Notice any sounds around you. Now shift your focus to your body. Feel the weight of your body pressing against the chair or the bed. Relax your shoulders and let your muscles soften with each exhale. Now gently bring your attention back to your breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. If your mind starts to wander, that's completely okay. Simply guide it back to your breath without any judgment. Now take a moment to appreciate this time for yourself, just being present here and now. As we conclude, take one more deep, nourishing breath. Now gently move your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and bring your awareness back to the room. Okay, so how do you feel? Would anyone like to share? You can unmute and answer or type in the chat box or even send emojis, whatever you'd prefer. Okay, Zainab says light. Good to know that, Zainab. Ritika says better. Anshika,
Uh,
very relaxed. Right, Deepak, you were saying something?
yeah, so ma'am, at some stage I felt I was going to sleep, and but as I opened my eyes, it felt refreshing.
Okay, so that happens, when we are meditating, we feel like sleeping sometimes because we're that relaxed, right? So I think with time and more practice, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll get better used to meditating. Um, Abhishek says it was good. Samala says feeling relaxed. So happy to know that. Um, Anshika also says that she has the energy to start on my tasks. Wonderful. Happy for you, Anshika. Um, Aswati says light. Great job, guys. Very happy for you. All right. So remember, you know, that doing this frequently or engaging in any meditation or mindfulness practice, now and then can really help to reset your mind and reduce stress and improve your focus. That is what we're trying to achieve here, right? Um, so try to incorporate, brief mindfulness moments like this throughout your day because let me tell you that, when we are anxious, right, we are often worrying about what can be, right, what the future holds for us, or we are um, stuck on the past, right? Um, so it's harder, it's more difficult for you to stay in the moment, stay grounded during those times. And when you do bring your attention back to the present moment, right, through these practices, you are in more control of your body, of your mind, of anything that is going on within you, right? So you would notice a huge shift in your stress levels, anxiety levels, your focus, attention throughout the day, in your ability to take on tasks and achieve your goals, right? So make sure that you're integrating meditation now and then in your daily routine, right? Because it's as important, even more, than the strategies we discussed previously. Um, okay. Um, all right. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from time management techniques to um, habit formation, right? Psychological techniques, and of course, mindfulness, meditation. So that remember always that the key to be productive is not just working harder; it's about working smarter. And hopefully, some of these techniques do come in handy, and you're able to make use of it. So at MindTribe, you can contact us at this email address, hello@mindtribe, or this WhatsApp number for anything you want assistance with, right? Be it counseling services, be it free group therapy, because we have free group therapies every day of the week, um, which are 12-week programs for free. So it's open for anybody to attend, and you're free to join us then, and be a part of our very rich researched programs. Anything else you need assistance with, please feel free to, contact us at this email address and phone number. Right. So thank you all for your active participation. If anyone has any questions, then please feel free to stay back after this slide. I hope you've all gained some, insights, and you've gained practical tools to maximize your productivity. Remember to, remember that improving productivity is a journey, not a destination. So be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, as you implement these strategies. Take what works for you, leave out the rest, and don't hesitate to adjust them to fit your needs. Um, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to stay back. Thank you for joining, everyone. I wish you a wonderful day ahead. Take care.